Previously on Birding But Cool. We're finishing up with our scouting efforts, shifting the focus to Camrose Lloydminster's forested areas. Somewhere off in the back of this little opening here, winter wren is singing.
Trumpeter swans, lovely little breeding pair. This is the northern rough-winged swallow, a large brown swallow. Very, very scarce in eastern Alberta. Connecticut warbler.
I've got a plan. I think it's a decent plan. Disruption was already beginning on the Western Front. Something nobody could predict was on the way. Welcome to episode 4 of the Birding But Cool 2022 Big Day. The moment you've been waiting for is finally here. The clock strikes 12. My good friend Phil and I were already up and ready to go. It didn't take us long to get out for Onion Lake for dawn. Get your guesses in now for our first bird of the day, because I'm about to spoil it. All right, folks, we are here. It's 12 a.m. We've just started the big day. I'm here with Phil.
Hello.
There's Phil. And our first bird of the day, a Sora, is calling off in the distance. You might be able to hear it out there. We've also had Canada goose, so we're up to 2. Fantastic pace. It's a beautiful, beautiful night. Very little wind, clear skies. You can see the stars very nicely. I don't think my phone will catch it, but very, very nice night. The only thing we're missing is a full moon, but it should be fine either way. Anyways, there's a lot of stuff to see. We're gonna look for some owls, hopefully maybe get some bonus warblers and sparrows before the sun rises. Sometimes these silly birds don't know when to go to bed. And if we see something cool, you'll be the first ones to hear about it. Here we go. The first night shift wasn't overwhelming, but given there was still barely any light on the horizon, it was productive. We added sedge wren, Nelson sparrow, and yellow rail south of Onion Lake, before grabbing a clutch saw-whet owl tooting from a patch of spruce trees. A couple oddball white-throated sparrows were singing through the middle of the night, which we were happy to tack on to our list. Quite possibly the most surprising bird we added in the night shift was blocking our way as we drove down a dirt road. Lesser yellowlegs on the road. Yeah, we'll take that.
2:41 in the morning.
2:41 in the morning, on the road, completely silent. After this, we jaunted north to find our faithful Connecticut warblers singing right where we had it the day before. We drove up the road, and before we knew it, most of the songbirds in the forest had woken up and begun singing. We got out near some mixed wood forest to examine a particularly cacophonous dawn chorus, where another surprise awaited us. It's finally bright enough that you can see my face without the car lights. It's about 4 a.m., and we have found our way into a surprise morning warbler behind us here. Not sure if it'll call, but it's there. Really good bird. You can get him at Elk Island, but makes it a bit easier that we have it now. And yeah, a lot of hermit thrushes as well, which is a good one. See if we can, here's the morning, see if we can get another cool warbler out of here. Nice boreal forest habitat here. Really pretty stuff. As the sun came over the horizon, the birds rushed at us at an uncontrollable rate. We finally had enough light to pick off ringneck ducks, canvasbacks, and pie-billed grebes off the small ponds within the forest, and we also added northern water thrush, western wood pewee, mourning dove, and western tanager at various locations along the side of the road. We drove by a lake that Google Maps calls Rock Island Lake, a small shallow lake with a nice shoreline that attracted a few stilt sandpipers, a mixed group of gulls, and a late sandhill crane. We left Onion Lake with 85 species to our tally, but the pressure was still on nonetheless, as we knew we had a lot of time to make up. You see, all the work Phil and I had done to optimize our plan for the day had been altered before the day even began. What could cause this, you ask? Well, how about an ABA Code 4 mega rarity that's only been seen in Alberta like 6 times ever? That was exactly what we got. The afternoon before our big day, a birder found a friggin' adult male, full plumage Garganey
hanging out with some blue-winged teal in a grassy flooded field south of Beaver Hill Lake. Obviously, this would be a nice tick for our day, but big day aside, we needed to see this bird. It was in our region and it wasn't a huge detour, so assuming it was quick, we would do it. But we needed to make sure not to fall behind schedule. We made a quick stop at Vermilion Provincial Park, and while our rough-winged swallows didn't show, a clutch Bonaparte's gull was flying by just at the right time for us to catch a glimpse. A couple great blue herons foraging along the shores of the river were our only ones of the day. Despite not getting everything we wanted, we were in good spirits due to making up a little bit of lost time. Before we headed south, we needed to get gas, and while doing so, we picked up an absolutely crucial bird.
We are in a gas station right now, and I'm looking at a very, very good bird for camera's license here, a Eurasian collared dove.
Even the obnoxious and horribly fuel-inefficient truck revving up in the background couldn't dampen our spirits. Collared doves are incredibly hard to track down in the region, and honestly, I didn't expect to see one. We jetted down to the Battle River after this, making up a bit of lost time along the way and netting a couple nice birds on the drive. Before we knew it, we had moved from rolling agricultural hills to canyons and badlands. Once we got amongst the hoodoos, we immediately added rock wren, spotted towhee, and lark sparrow to our lists. The former was a lifer for Phil and a bird I failed to pick out on scouting, so it put us both at ease when we noticed it hopping along the rock faces. Next, we headed to Buffalo Lake, looking to add a few more water birds. We'd get a few nice things there, including some pelicans and a cinnamon teal, but the real showstoppers came out on our way.
Quick 3 beers, quick 3 beers. Just kidding, we're driving, no beers, but there is an olive-sided flycatcher in the camera. This is huge, this is massive, this is a really good bird. This is incredible. I did not expect this. This is really, really good. Wow.
Not only had we found an incredible bird in olive-sided flycatcher, but we'd found it as a migrant. There was no way it would be breeding this far south. A monumental pickup was quickly followed by another one in ruby-throated hummingbird, a sparsely distributed species that's typically only found at hummingbird feeders this far north. Phil and I were lucky to get our eyes on one zipping by this bridge, where a bunch of cliff swallows have made their nests. At this point, we were sitting on 122 species, feeling pretty good about ourselves. Thanks to the punctuality and reliability of the Badland birds, we had gotten ahead of schedule, and would have a bit of time to comfortably search for the Garganey. But we had no idea what we were in for. We rolled up to the supposed location, and at first it seemed devoid of any bird life whatsoever. But we hopped out to scope anyways, and that's when we realized how hard this was going to be. In truth, there were dozens of ducks, mostly blue-winged teal, hiding in and among the reeds, making themselves invisible as they pleased. We looked and looked, but the clock was ticking, and we couldn't find it. A decision faced us both, and knowing that the Garganey had to be in there somewhere, we stuck with it. But we just weren't getting eyes on it. Would we see the Garganey? Would we be able to recover and hold on to our schedule after looking for it? How many birds could we still get with 11 hours remaining in the day? Find out next time on the final installment of the 2022 Big Day series, right here on Birding But Cool.